welcome to Blossom Sandwich Sews. My name is Yvette and I'm going to be taking you through the journey of making my Sew Me Sunshine blog project. So today is stage one. I've just got the fabric, have already opened it because I couldn't resist having a sneak peek, but let's crack it open. So the Sew Me Sunshine parcels always come in this plastic free packaging, which is really nice, and then I keep these shipping bags and reuse them if I sell clothes on Depop or donate them via Good On You or a similar thing. And then your fabric also comes with a little postcard, so they're not always the same. That's upside down. So my sole is fed with needle and thread is the one I've got, so I'm going to add that to my sewing postcard collection. And then there's also a card about caring for your fabric with different washing instructions for different types of fabric, and you can write about your project on the back if you like writing down on paper. So I usually use Trello for keeping track of my sewing projects. So here is the fabric. So mine was packed by Celia, so I think that's a really nice and personal touch, so you know who's got your fabric ready for you. And if you visit the Sew Me Sunshine YouTube channel, they've been putting together videos with different members of the team, sharing their top picks from the shop. So that's quite a good way of building community to see, who's actually working with your fabric and what they're into. So let's have a look at the fabric. So this is 3 meters of Robert Kaufman Ventana Toile in the Vermilion colorway, which was very generously sent to me by the Sew Me Sunshine team. So it is quite a structured cotton, so it's going to be perfect for what I've got in mind, which is the Dani trousers by True Bias. If you are subscribed to my channel, you'll know that I'm always banging on about how I need to make some trousers and I don't have enough bottoms in my wardrobe. So hopefully this project will give me the push that I need to actually get on and make some, and I am going to take you along for the journey, and you can see how it goes. So this is the fabric. I'm really pleased with it. It's got a twill weave that probably you're not going to be able to see, maybe a little bit there. The colour is slightly different to what I was expecting from the picture on the website. So I was expecting it to be a really bright scarlet colour, but it's actually a bit darker and warmer. So if I hold up another fabric, because I don't know how well the colours are going to come out on the screen, so I was expecting it to be more like this, a bit more orangey, but it's slightly more cherry. So if you are someone who wants a very particular colour of fabric, maybe consider ordering a swatch if you know that you only want to use a very specific shade, because it is a bit difficult to tell the colour from online. But I like all colours, so I'm really pleased with this, and it's kind of quite I think it's quite autumnal. I think it's going to be really good to wear through the autumn winter, and even actually with this jumper that I'm wearing now, I think it's going to look really good. So I'm definitely going to have fun going through my wardrobe and seeing what tops I'm going to wear with this, and I will share that with you hopefully if my trousers turn out well later on in this video. So I will check in with you at the next stage. Okay, I'm back. I've just pre-washed the fabric. You can see it here in my laundry basket. I did actually overlock the edges on this one. I'm not always as good as this. I don't always do it, but I just I kind of do it on a fabric by fabric basis, depending on whether I am concerned that it's going to fray. So it's got my rainbow overlocking on the edge. And I did chuck in a colour catcher with it as well, so I always find it kind of satisfying to see the colour that came out. So that's quite pink. I don't know how well that's showing up, but quite a lot of the colour has run out. So yeah, I usually just wash one fabric at a time when I'm pre-washing. But yeah, be cautious if you did want to wash it with something else, especially if it's something pale. So in the meantime, while this was washing, it's still damp and you need to go and hang it up. In the meantime, while it was washing, I popped over to Hobbycraft, which is handily quite a short walk from where I live. So I had a pretty successful time there. I brought a little tiny swatch that I snipped off the fabric, and I got some thread, which I think is quite a good colour match. I bought a couple because it's always so annoying to run out, so hopefully that will be enough. And then I needed to get a zip because I'm going to attempt the zip fly version. I got 2 zips because I wasn't sure whether to get one that matches the colour the best, this red one, or I've got a metal one but in just like a neutral colour. So I'm kind of leaning to going towards the metal one just because as a zip it runs a bit more smoothly than this one, which is a plastic one. And I think it will be a bit more hard wearing since it's trousers. So I think I'm going to go with this one. I had also these buttons that I got at the knitting and stitching show, which I think will look amazing with this fabric. Let's see if I can show you what it looks like against that fabric on the background. It's a bit shiny. Anyway, these buttons I think are going to be really nice as well. Cutting out the pattern, so I'm going to make view B of the Dani pants. So that is with the zip fly and the buttons and then the full length trouser version. So, and I've decided that I'm going to make the size 12 based on my measurements. So the hip measurement is 41, which is the same as my hip measurement. And the waist, I think in the measurements on the pattern is 33. So I'm actually 34. But since it's elasticated, I can just put in slightly more elastic rather than ending up with like some super baggy trousers to fit my chunky waist. So I started cutting that out. So I keep all of my cut out pattern pieces in a Polly Pocket and then store them in a ring binder. So I am team PDF and team cut because I get my patterns printed at Plan Printing 24. Which is quite reasonably priced. So if I want to make the shorts versions, I'll just get it reprinted because it's just so much quicker and I feel like it's more accurate as well than tracing it out. So I find A0 sheets like quite a lot to manage. So what I do, like with this one, I just roughly cut out the pattern pieces and then I will cut them out more accurately. I just find it easier to do with the one pattern piece rather than with a whole A0 sheet floating about. So that's where I'm up to now, and then I'll check back in with my toile, hopefully. Hey, I just wanted to quickly hop on and show you my first toile of the Dani trousers. So this is just a version that I've made in an old bed sheet. Haven't put the elastic in, but I think in the I did do the fly because I wanted to practice it because this is the first time I've done a zip fly and it wasn't that tricky, but I think once that elastic in, it's going to fit fine in my waist. So noticing fit issues, I think definitely I'm going to need to take some of the rise out, probably like at least an inch, and then so I think I'm just going to cut on this version and take that out and just to see how much that affects other fit issues, because I feel like it's a bit tight over the hips, but maybe once I've got this sitting correctly, that will improve. And then I feel like this waistband is like slanting towards the back. It's a bit hard to see without the elastic in. So I might need to scoop out some of the back curve to give more room for my bum. But yeah, overall I'm pretty pleased with the fit just because this is a straight out the packet, no adjustment, size 12. I think I am going to need to take out some of the length as well, but I'll do that after I've addressed this, the rise. I think I'm going to make the pockets a bit bigger as well, but that's your prerogative when you're sewing. So yeah, I'm quite pleased with the shape of them and how they came together. Yeah, so with a toile, like obviously you don't have to do everything, like so I haven't finished the seams or put the elastic in obviously, or the buttons, so it does make it a bit quicker. So I'm going to try cutting out this 1 centimetre of the rise, and then we'll see what it looks like after that. So I'll be back in a bit. Okay, so I'm back in my first toile, but what I've done is I just cut it across the length and shorten line in the rise, and then just moved the legs like up an inch and sewed it back on. So that's definitely got the length in the front, looking much better. But I don't know if you can see, it's kind of dipping down at the back compared to the front, and it feels quite tight in the legs, especially here. So if I get my tape measure around where my waist is, you can see there's quite a gap here. So what I'm thinking is that maybe I need to do a full seat adjustment to get more room in here to fit my butt a bit better, and then hopefully that will take out some of the tightness in here as well, because I think what's happening at the moment is that where there's not enough room in the fabric here, it's like pulling it up from here. So I'm just going to try a full seat adjustment, and then see if that and then see if I need to also add more width to the legs. So for a comparison, I'm just going to put on a pair of ready-to-wear trousers that fit me well, just to see like where they sit relative to my waist. So this is a pair of ready-to-wear trousers that I have, and I wear them quite a lot, and I thought they would be somewhat comparable because they're also high-waisted but flat at the front and elasticated at the back. So you can see with this tape measure around my waist, these trousers sit much higher up to my waist. They're not quite on the line, but they sit much higher up than my first toile. So that confirms my suspicions that I might need to do a full seat adjustment. So I'm going to give that a go, and then hopefully that will make the fit better across the legs. So I'll let you know how that goes. I've just done shorts this time because it was mostly just the top that I was concerned with fitting better. So I did add in quite a lot to the back. So I actually added in 8 centimeters in my full seat adjustment, which might have been a bit overkill because I've got a little bit of bagginess here, but on the whole it fits so much better. So that's got rid of all this tightness that was in here behind the legs, and if I get my tape measure, you'll be able to see that it's now sitting much more evenly across my waist and not pulling down at the back like the first version was. So I'm really pleased with that. So I think all I'm going to do is just take out maybe just 1.5 centimeters from my full seat adjustment, just remove that, and then I can get cutting out with my real fabric. So the only other adjustment I did was just make the pockets slightly bigger. So I used my Generate seam circles to add on an extra 1.5 centimeters. So they're not like massively bigger, but I think that will be more handy for me. So I'll let you know how the cutting out goes with the real fabric. So just looking back at the pictures of the back, there was more excess than I was thinking, like towards the top. So I've just pinned out that excess. Don't know if you'll be able to see it. I'm sorry, this is such a butt heavy video, but it's all part of the fitting process. So I've just pinned out that excess, which I think looks much better. So I'm going to figure out how much excess that was, and then just take it out of the pattern, rather than just doing a 1.5 centimeters. I'll do however much this was that I pinned out, and yeah, then see how that goes. Finished my new trousers. So I'm going to just quickly tell you about how I found the sewing process. So firstly, about the fabric. So this fabric, I'll just remind you, is the Robert Kaufman Ventana Toile from Sew Me Sunshine. So this colourway is called Vermilion, but there are all kinds of colours of this exact same type of fabric available from Sew Me Sunshine. And it was really, really nice to work with because it's quite a stable cotton twill. So that means that it presses really nicely, doesn't shift about when you sew it. And also where the diagonal weave of the twill is quite pronounced, it means that it's easy to tell the right and the wrong side. So I used the side with the diagonal lines of the twill as the right side, and then the smoother side as the wrong side on the inside of my trousers. So, and then with regards to the pattern, this is the first True Bias pattern that I've actually used. So I made the Dani pants, View B by True Bias, and I found the instructions were excellent. I can be quite picky with instructions, but I found that these true bias instructions actually worked really well for me. I know that it's a matter of sort of personal preference of what you like, but I thought they were very, very good because it kind of, the things I liked about the instructions were that there were really good illustrations that quite clearly showed you what you needed to do, including showing the pinning as well. And it told you at every stage when you needed to finish the edges, which I quite appreciate, because sometimes you're like, well, I guess I don't need to do that bit yet, and then you're like, oh no. And then also it would tell you, like, so it would say finish the edges, we're not going to show the finished edges in the illustration from here on in, just that sort of thing, so you knew that like you were exactly on the right page, the same page as the person writing the instructions, like throughout the process. And it also told you things that you might find a bit tricky, or things like, so for example, when you sew the zip onto the zip fly, there's a bit where it's basically impossible to get it straight because of the zip pull is like adds too much bulk for the zipper foot to get around. So it was like, even in the instructions, it was like, this will be a bit wonky, but it doesn't matter. And I just found it really nice to have that kind of reassurance just like baked into the pattern. And just like generally it told you what you needed to know when you needed to know it. So it didn't feel like patronizing or anything, but it just felt like it was just keeping you, it just made sure that you didn't forget anything. So for example, when there's like this bit at the front here, and the panels are interfaced, but it says, like in the instructions, if you didn't do it already, remember to interface the waist panels. And I think sometimes when the interfacing is sort of up in the section about cutting out, you might have forgotten to cut out that piece of interfacing, or you might have thought about it like, oh, I'll do that bit later or whatever. So I found that really helpful, and it also like occasionally sort of reminds you of what the seam allowance is supposed to be, that sort of stuff. So the whole pattern was done with a 1/2 inch seam allowance, which is not what I normally use. So inside, I just overlocked the edges, and then either press them open or to one side. So I think if I made these again, I might try and do like a flat felt seam, just so that there's less kind of bulk inside. But it's fine, it's not too bad, but I didn't trim down any of the excess seam allowance because I wasn't sure if I would need to end up taking them in or out or anything, and I just didn't want to make that more work for myself. So one of the things that I didn't do was put on the back pockets, because I was sewing these one evening when I was a bit tired and grumpy, and my pocket came out quite wonky, so then I kind of yeeted it across the sewing room and was like, do you want back pockets anyway? So no back pockets on this make, but there are side seam pockets, which are great, so I don't really need back pockets anyway. And I'm really happy as well with the adjustments that I made to the fit. So if I show you my pattern piece, you can see how I altered it when I did my full seat adjustment that I mentioned in my earlier section about the toiling process. So I've kind of done lines on the pattern piece so that it's easier for you to see the bit that I added in. So I just cut the pattern piece. So these are the back darts. So I kind of cut the pattern piece sort of across like the middle-ish, because I figured that would be where most of the volume was, like in my butt, like more at the top, because if I had opened it up and added more in here, I didn't want to end up with like a saggy bum and then it still wasn't putting fabric in the right place where I needed it. So I just cut along here, and then I did a little snip here to the edge. So like I cut across to the seam allowance and then cut from the other side so that it was like a hinge, and then I opened it up. So when I made my first alteration, I went a bit nuts and added in 8 centimeters, which then was quite a lot too much. So then I took about 3 centimeters of that back out. So I think this is now 5 centimeters that I've added in here. And then you have to true up the edge here because there ends up being an angle where you've opened it up. So I just drew a line from there until it next hit the side. So yeah, I used a closet core tutorial for this, so I'll put in a picture of what that looks like. But it was quite straightforward to do. I just kind of picked a fairly random amount because I wasn't really sure how much to add, but I was trying to add enough so that my so on my toile trousers, they were sitting like low, like, so my waist was here and then the trousers were slanted backwards. So I was trying to add in enough to get them to sit like properly horizontally across the waist. So I think I did sort of get there in the end with some trial and error, but that's what the whole toile process is about. So yeah, I'm pleased with that and how that worked out. And in the end, I didn't have to change like the length at all. So I took 1 inch out of the rise, but I didn't change the length of the legs at all. And I'm really pleased with how the length of that works out. So the pattern is drafted for someone who's like 5'5" or 5'6", but I'm only 5'2". But I think my shortness is like in my body. So yeah, you don't need to like take 4 inches out of the leg necessarily. It depends on like the proportions of your body compared to the proportions of what they used for their block or their standard size person that they used when drafting the pattern. And so you don't usually know what that is either. So it's kind of good to just give it a try and see how it turns out. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the pattern. I thought it was excellent. Really, instructions were really well done and it all came together well. And none of it I found like, you know, sometimes when you do a pattern and the construction is weird and you're a bit like, why would you do it this way? It's sort of adding loads of bulk or whatever. But I thought the construction was really good. Instructions were really good. So yeah, I would recommend this pattern and I kind of already want to make another pair. So yeah, that I think is high praise for the pattern. Okay, so now I'm going to show you some styling options. So I've been through my wardrobe and picked out some things that I think might go with these trousers. So I'm really looking forward to trying on some things and then being able to wear these trousers in my day-to-day. So this is my first outfit combo. So this shirt was actually made by my husband's gran for my mother-in-law. So a while ago I said I was going to show you all of the things that she had made, but I haven't got around to it yet. But this is a sneak peek of the first one. And I just love the ruffle and the colours. I just think it's so me. So I'm really pleased with this. And I think it goes really nicely with these trousers with the colours as well. So this is the first outfit combo. A bit creased, but this is my second top choice to wear with this. So this is my Fibre Mood Norma blouse that I hacked to remove the button placket. And this has got so many colours in that it kind of goes with everything. But I quite like that with these. I quite like it with these trousers. So I think that will be a fun outfit combo. This is a ready-to-wear top that I haven't actually worn that much, but I really like it. And it's like made in a viscose and I like the fit of it as well. But I've basically been looking for things in my wardrobe that have some red in. So I think having the red trousers really makes the red in the print pop. So I'm really pleased with that combo. This is one of my Helen's Closet Ashton tops, which I think looks really cute actually because of the high-waisted trousers and then the cropped shirt. I think that's a really nice, cute look. And navy goes with everything, doesn't it? Can't go wrong with navy. This combo I'm less sure about because this vintage fabric has got some of the red in, but also the pink, so I don't know if it clashes. But I know red and pink is a popular colour combo now. So this is a Forget-Me-Not Lola blouse. So it's quite a simple sort of top with a little ruffle on the back. So let me know what you think of that combo, whether you think that works. Because yeah, it's quite fun to just try stuff out. This is another combo I'm not sold about. I think the strawberry print looks good with this fabric, and I did actually use the strawberry print for the pocket lining, because the pattern recommends if you're using a thicker fabric to use a lighter weight fabric for the pocket. But I think the red of the ruffle and the cuffs is quite orangey in comparison to this, so I think it clashes. So I'm not convinced on this one. But yeah, let me know. I mean, this is what it would look like tucked in, which I think is a bit better. I think with the looseness of the legs on this, I think stuff tucked in will generally look a bit better in this because it won't be too much bagginess. And also jumpers, because you can't make something in autumn winter without considering that you might need to wear it with a jumper. So this is just a ready to wear jumper that I've had for quite a while, but it's got quite a few like red tones in, so I thought that would work quite well. And finally, the jumper I was wearing in the start of the video does look awesome with these trousers, as suspected. So that brings us full circle. So thank you so much for watching. If you managed to stick with me throughout the entire process of this make, then thank you so much. And also don't forget to check out my blog on the Sew Me Sunshine website. I'll put a link to that below, and also I'll put a link to the Sew Me Sunshine YouTube channel as well, because they often do previews of new fabrics they've got coming out and stuff, and also you can get to meet the Sew Me Sunshine team as well. So yeah, thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe and comment. I appreciate every single one of those. Thank you so much, and see you around. Bye.